Hello traders, this is Dr. Zain Agha from zwinner.com. Here are my suggestions to trade the news during the week starting 11th of December and ending on the 15th of December 2023. But first, the disclaimer. Forex trading carries high risk. Do not trade with the money you cannot afford to lose. This is for educational purpose only. I am not a financial advisor, therefore I will not be held responsible for any loss incurred. Please trade on a demo account first until you are confident. On Monday, we have no tradable news. On Tuesday, the 12th of December at 7 a.m., we have the claimant count change coming out of United Kingdom. Is the unemployment benefits. Those who are seeking the unemployment benefits is expected to be higher than the previous. The previous one was 17.8k and expected to be at 20.3k. So if it comes out less than 15k, then you need to buy the British pound. If it comes out more than 22k, then you need to sell the British pound. Then at 1:30 p.m. we have the core consumer price index coming out of United States and is expected to be a bit better than the previous one. It's 0.3% expectation and the previous one was 0.2%. So if the core CPI comes out at 0.5% or more, then you need to buy the US dollar, and if it comes out in a negative figure, then you need to sell the US dollar. And similarly, you had the same time you have the monthly CPI and the yearly CPI. So but give importance to the core CPI. Okay, and the next day on Wednesday the 13th at 7 a.m. London time, we have the gross domestic product, a monthly one, coming out of United Kingdom, expected to be worse than previous, expected to be minus 0.1% as against 0.2% previous. Now if it comes out at 0.3% or more, in that case you need to buy the British pound. If the figures come out minus 0.2% or less, then you need to sell the British pound. Then at 1:30 p.m. on the same day, Wednesday the 13th of December, we have the core producer price index monthly one coming out of USA and is expected to be much better than the previous one at 0.2% as against 0.0%. Now if it comes out in a negative figure, then you need to sell the US dollar. If it comes out more than 0.4%, then you need to buy the US dollar. And then at 7 a.m. On the same day, Wednesday, we have the federal funds rate coming out of USA. That's the interest rate. It's expected to be the same as previous at 5.5%. Now if there's any change, for example, it goes to, if they raise it to 5.75% or more, in that case you need to buy the US dollar. If they reduce it to 5.25% or less, then you need to sell the US dollar. And also at the same time, we have a very important meeting, economic projections coming out of FOMC. You can listen it on the Bloomberg radio, and then the statement, FOMC statement again at the Bloomberg radio, and then 7:30 there's a press conference of FOMC. Now this is very important. Listen to the Bloomberg radio. It will move the dollar, US dollar, either up or down, and it's going to be quite a volatile news. Then at 9:45 p.m. in London time, we have the quarterly GDP coming out of New Zealand, expected to be 0.2% as against 0.9%. so expectation is very low. So if it comes out in a minus figure, then you need to sell the New Zealand dollar, and if it comes out more than 1%, then you need to buy the New Zealand dollar. Then on Thursday the 14th of December at 12:30 a.m. London time, we have the employment change figures coming out of Australia. It's expected to be much worse than the previous one. The previous was 55k and the expectation is 10k. So if the figures come out less than 8k, you need to sell the Australian dollar. If the figures come out more than 55k, then you need to buy the Australian dollar. And also at the same time, keep an eye on the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is also expected to go a bit higher than the previous one. The expectation is 3.7% as against the previous one, which is 3.7%. Now if it comes out more than 4%, then you need to sell the Australian dollar. If it comes out less than 3.5%, then you need to buy the Australian dollar. And then you have the interest rate coming out of Switzerland at 8:30 a.m. on the same day, Thursday the 14th of December, and the expectation is the same, 1.75%, like previous. So if there is any change, for example, the interest rate is raised to 2%, then you need to buy the Swiss franc. If the interest rate is lowered to 1.5% or lower than that, then you need to sell the Swiss franc. Then at 12 p.m. we have the monetary policy summary coming out of United Kingdom. And listen to the Bloomberg radio, and also at the same time you have the official bank rate votes coming out. Now these are the expectation. So its expectation is that 2 members would say to increase the interest rate. None of them are going to say that to reduce the interest rate, and 7 of them are going to vote for keeping the interest rate the same as it is. So now it is a very touchy scene, so I think it's better to leave it alone. Okay. And then the interest rate comes out at the same time, expected to be the same, expected to remain the same, 5.25%. And if there is a change, if there's a change, if they increase the interest rate to 5.5% or more, then you need to buy the British pound. If they reduce the interest rate to 5% or less, then you need to sell the British pound. Then at 1:15 p.m. you have the European main refinancing rate. That's the interest rate again. So the interest rate of European bank is 4.5%, and it's expected to remain the same. If there's any change, then act accordingly. If they increase the interest rate to 4.75% or more, then you need to buy the euro. If they decrease it, lower it to 4.25% or less, then you need to sell the euro. Then at 1:30 p.m. on Thursday the 14th, you have the core retail sales coming out of USA. It's expected to be worse than previous. The previous was 0.1%, and expectation is minus 0.1%. Right. Now if the interest rate, if the core retail sales comes out at 0.5% or more, then you need to buy the US dollar. If it comes out minus 0.2% or less, then you need to sell the US dollar. And also at the same time, look at the retail sales, monthly one, and these are the figures coming out. But you give importance to the core retail sale. Then we have on Friday, on the 15th of December at 8:15 a.m., we have the French flash manufacturing PMI coming out of Europe from France, expected to be 43.3 as against 42.9. So if it comes out more than about 50 or more, then you need to buy the euro. If it comes out less than 40, then you need to sell the euro. And also at the same time you have the flash services PMI. This is expected to be better than the previous one. The previous one was 45.4 and the expectation is 46.1. If it comes out 50 or more, buy euro. If it comes out less than 40, sell euro. Then 8 a.m. we have the German flash manufacturing PMI coming out of Germany, and also the flash services PMI. Now the manufacturing PMI expected to be 43.1 as against 42.6 previous. So if it comes out at 48 or more, then you need to buy the euro. If it comes out less than 40, sell euro. And then if the services PMI comes out expected to be at 49.9 as against the same last time. So if it comes out more than 50 or 50.5, then you need to buy euro. If it comes out less than 47, then you need to sell the euro. Then at 9:30 a.m. on Friday the 15th of December, we have the flash manufacturing PMI and the flash services PMI coming out of United Kingdom. The flash manufacturing PMI is supposed to be a bit better than the previous at 47.6 as against 47.2 previous. If it comes out 50 or more, then you need to buy the British pound. If it comes out less than 45, sell British pound. Similarly, if you have the flash services PMI, it's much better than previous, expected to come out at 51 as against 50 previous. If it comes out 52 or more, then you need to buy the British pound. If it comes out 48 or less, then you need to sell the British pound. Then at 1:30 p.m. from USA, we have the Empire State Manufacturing Index. Now this is the manufacturers in the New York State. Is their index. It's expected to be at 1.7 as against 9.1 previous. So not very good. If it comes out more than 10, then you need to buy the US dollar. If it comes out 0 or less than 0, then you need to sell the US dollar. Then at 2:45 p.m. we have the flash manufacturing PMI coming out of USA, and also at the same time flash services PMI. Now the manufacturing PMI is expected to come out. Previous one was 49.4, expected to be slightly lower, 49.3. If it comes out at 51 or more, then you need to buy the US dollar. If it comes out 48 or less, sell US dollar. Similarly, the flash services PMI expected to come out at 50.5 against previous 50.8. So if it comes out 52 or more, then you need to buy US dollar. If it comes out 48 or less, then you need to sell the US dollar. Now, other than that, we have no other news for this week, but we do have a lot of news this week. I hope you're going to make some good money, and please share it with your friends and colleagues, and do subscribe to my channel if you haven't so far, and I wish you all the best and see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.